Hello and welcome! In this video I'm going to teach you how to play Cyberdarks. This is a very simple and flowcharted combo deck. It's quite beginner friendly despite how it may look or what others may tell you. This deck is also very cheap and easy to build because all the cards you need to get started come from the Cybernetic Successor structure deck. The main goal of this deck is to summon Cyberdark Dragon. That's it. That's what your entire combo is for. Send 5 Cyberdark monsters to the graveyard to fusion summon into Cyberdarkness Dragon, who you will then sacrifice to make Cyberdark Dragon. But for extra security and style points, you can also use Cyber Emergency at the end of your combo to summon back Cyberdarkness Dragon, who can send equip cards to the graveyard to negate your opponent's activated effects. But like I said, this step is optional. Cyberdark Dragon is already unaffected by most effects, and he's hard to beat over with his 5,000 attack points, so just summoning him alone can win you most games. So now I'll begin explaining the core cards. The Fodder Dragons. These include 1 copy of Cyberdragon Herz, 1 copy of Cyberdark Horn, 1 copy of Cyberdark Edge, and 1 copy of Cyberdark Keel. These are the dragons you almost always want to toss in the graveyard whenever you get the option. For that reason, I like to call them the Fodder Dragons. They're in your deck to fuel your fusion summons, and that's it. Cyberdragon Herz is a little special, because they count as a Cyberdragon in the graveyard, so they can be used for backup plays sometimes. They can also send another Fodder Dragon to the graveyard with them when they are sent, so there's no reason not to play Cyberdragon Herz. The main fusion cards, these include 3 copies of Cyberdark Chimera and 3 copies of Power Bond. Cyberdark Chimera discards 1 spell or trap of any kind to search for Power Bond. Even if you have Power Bond in your hand, use Chimera's effect anyways. If you don't, you won't be able to use the graveyard for your fusion summoning that turn, so it's a very important step. Power Bond is your main fusion spell. With Chimera's effect, it can fusion summon using monsters from your hand or graveyard, but not the field. Now for your monster set search. These include 3 copies of Cyberdragon Core, 3 copies of Cyberdark Cannon, and 3 copies of Cyberdark Claw. Cyberdragon Core, if you normal summon it, Core can search any cyber spell or trap from your deck. This includes Cyberdark spells and traps, so this card can search basically any spell or trap that you may need to continue your combos, such as Cyberdark Invasion, Cybernetic Horizon, Cyberdark Realm, Cyber Eternal, Cyber Emergency, and so on. Cyberdark Cannon can add any of the Fodder Dragons or Cyberdark Chimera to your hand. Cyberdark Claw can search only for the Cyberdark spells and traps, Realm, Horizon, and Invasion. Now we'll go over the spells that search. These are 3 copies of Cyber Emergency, 3 copies of Cybernetic Horizon, and 3 copies of Cyberdark Realm. Cyber Emergency is just used to search Cyberdragon Core. That's it. If you already have Core, you can search Herz so you can use it as fodder. If you already have Herz, you can search one of the Fodder Dragons. Cybernetic Horizon. Be careful with this card so you don't throw away anything important. It'll ask you to discard a machine monster from your hand, then one from your deck. So try to send the Fodder Dragons if you can. And then it'll ask you what card you want to search for. This card can search for either Cyberdark Chimera, Cyberdragon Core, or one of the Fodder Dragons. But it can also search for Claw or Cannon. Don't search for a Fodder Dragon unless you've already searched for and used everything else. After you search for a card with Cybernetic Horizon, it'll ask you to discard one more card from your extra deck. Choose Cyber Dragon, or else the combo won't work. But if you already have Cyber Dragon in your grave somehow, this part doesn't matter so much. Cyberdark Realm can add either Claw or Cannon, the Fodder Dragons, or Cyberdark Chimera. Basically any monster with Cyberdark in its name. It also gives you another normal summon for that turn, which you will use to normal summon Cyberdark Chimera. But be aware that you can only summon Cyberdark monsters with this effect. So you won't be able to summon Cyberdark Chimera and then summon Cyberdragon Core with the effect, because it's not a Cyberdark monster, it's a Cyber monster. Now for some optional additions. You can take these cards out if you want. They aren't necessary to have the combo, but they do help out quite a bit in specific situations. These optional additions include 3 copies of Cyber Eternal, 3 copies of Cyberdark Invasion, and 1 copy of Overload Fusion. Cyber Eternal is an insane card that helps you really push your advantage ahead once you start winning. Once you finish your combo and summon Cyber Dragon, you can use this card to summon Cyberdarkness Dragon again from your graveyard. If you just sent Cyberdarkness Dragon to the grave with Cybernetic Horizon and tried to summon it, you wouldn't be able to, and you would have to send it back to the extra deck instead. Cyberdark Invasion is also more of a win more card than something that's necessary for your combos. It lets you attach monsters from either graveyard to your boss monster, which Cyberdark Dragon can do on its own as well. Or you can detach an equipped monster and pop a card your opponent controls. And Overload Fusion is just a backup option in case Power Bond doesn't work out. As for the rest of the cards, you can choose anything you want. You can have Ash Blossom, Impermanence, Maxi, Called by the Grave, etc. Just fill up those 5 slots with anything. Now let's talk about the extra deck. The necessary cards that you need for your combo are Cyber Dragon, Cyberdarkness Dragon, and Cyberdark End Dragon, all of which come from the Cybernetic Successor structure deck. If you don't have one of these cards in your deck, you won't be able to do the combo. Next, I'll go over cards that you may want to have at least one copy of. These include Chimeratech Fortress Dragon, Lan for Lan. How do you pronounce that?
Lan Farincus.
Lan Farincus. Lan Farincus. All right. And one copy of Cyberdragon Seeger. You want to have at least one copy of one of these cards in your deck because they'll be able to send more monsters to your graveyard if you have monsters in the field, so that you can link cards from your field into the graveyard, so you have more to fusion summon with. And the not so necessary cards, but cards that I still include as backup plans. 2 copies of Cyber Twin Dragon, 1 copy of Chimeratech Overdragon, and 1 copy of Chimeratech Mega Fleet Dragon. So that's all the cards and how they work. If you want to go back and reference any card, I left timestamps in the description. And if you want to practice, just try this combo against the solo mode bots. For this deck in particular, I recommend choosing to go first. Before I go, I just want to say that this deck was way better when Union Carrier was still unbanned, so if Konami ever unbans Union Carrier, for some reason, I'll make an updated guide video. Now here's an example of how the combo should look when it's finished. I hope you all have a good day and have fun in your journey to becoming the king or queen of games.